Hello, everyone. This episode is a compilation of me going around for about a year and asking different people, friends, and practitioners about the challenges that we are facing today as humans. These clips are cut out of longer episodes of natural conversations, so apologies in advance if the episode feels a bit clunky. Here are the answers.
For me, mm, the coming paradigm is not something that we have to do. It's something that we have to take ourselves out of the way to let it unfold and to
Mhm.
trust in the in the sacredness and the mystery of existence. And until now, in the paradigm we come from, in the old paradigm, we have been trying to control again the outcome of things. And maybe this paradigm that it's coming was there all the time. It's not like something necessarily new.
New.
It's just that
Mhm.
the coming paradigm, which is already here, I think it's about retuning into the universal paradigm.
Mm.
When we look at nature and we see everything in the world that we live in the reality we're experiencing, it's connected to the higher source of existence, to the natural forces of the earth, to the cosmic forces of the stars, and there's like a river of existence unfolding in nature. Yes, but we humans, again, we have like created this artificial dome inside of nature where we have changed the rules and we have disconnected ourselves. For me, it's important to understand humans, we don't know where we come from, we don't know who we are, and we don't know where we're going. We don't know what is our mission here. We don't know anything. But so we are so ignorant of these essential things that we try to become very specialized and have control, and we know every little thing about all the worlds we have created, but we don't know the
Mhm.
essential things. And I think that the coming paradigm is the melting of these artificial structures that we have been living in for so long, and they include relationships with the others and with ourselves. They include mental paradigms of mental structures. They include our connection with our sacred vehicle, which is our body, to let it be in its full power that we are limiting in many ways. It includes our mission, our actions, our creations, our relationship with everything else that is. So I feel it's the coming paradigm. It has to do with a process of rewildment. It's like coming back to the source of what we are, which doesn't come from a concept. It comes from letting our bodies, letting nature, inner and outer nature, guide us into the
Mhm.
liberation from all the artificial rules, concepts, structures, institutions that we have created. Um, I think it's a lot about not doing, about a lot about like letting go and learning and allowing ourselves to remain or training ourselves to remain calm in not knowing and seeing this deeper version of reality unfold and start to relearn how to flow with existence. Yes. And I think, of course, this impacts everything we know, everything we know. Of the few things that I know about the new paradigm is that it is not about me, it's about we. So the
Mhm.
idea that
Mhm.
it is in collective, we need to come back to the collective, to the tribe. This is something I work a lot with in my workshops. Uh, it is about, it is more about unlearning than about learning new things. It's
Mhm.
about more about like forgetting things we think we know. And And yeah, it's about embracing the mystery. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hello, listeners. Today I have a friend of mine. How old are you, Henry?
I'm 29.
29, right? Yep.
I keep thinking about it. How old am I? I really do.
Yeah, so that's 2 years, almost 2 years older than me. I just want to pick your brain on some matters, and I know these are like deep issues, and we can take hours discussing these, but somehow let's try to keep it brief and concise. So what I'll ask from you is that is this in today's world, 2022, almost 23.
Mhm.
What do you feel, and really like what do you think are the problems we are facing as individuals and as a society perhaps? What are the original problems we have today? What are the questions that really need to be answered
Mhm.
in the next decades, let's say?
Mhm. Well, I come to think of two straight away. One of them is just completely universal. It's timeless. It's not to get stuck in the past and not to use past formulas of how it's been for our parents and their parents and so on. Not to apply these to the modern day, because I think as a human being, I kind of sometimes imagine like there's one human being that's like gum, really sticky, just sticks to everything, and then there's one that's just like really oily and fluidy. And I think to have this fluidity to yourself, to just go through life and not stick to people in a wrong way, not stick to your past experiences, and always keep a fresh eye. It's very important.
Can I maybe? Well, it's a deeper concept, but you can kind of compare it to karma. Like to let go of the karma of the past, or in therapy we call it. A part of it is shadow work or trauma work. To let go in more than just like beliefs or concepts or ideas or opinions, but something deep seated within your body actually. That's certain that people are this way or the world is that way, and I should react this way, to survive.
Yeah, I think we can, by over structuring life or even ourselves, let's say, my name is Arthur. I am an accountant. Every Monday I go to the gym, and every Tuesday I go to like Latin dance or whatever. Every morning I first brush my teeth, then I shave, and it's like the specific order. Then I take a shower. Like if you get stuck on these formulas, then at one point Arthur equals these formulas. But actually, Arthur is a being of change. It's like the changes that are coming, the differences in the routine, the different vision over the years. This whole thing could be Arthur. So we shouldn't limit ourselves to like these really rigid beliefs.
I really like that. The being of change. We are beings of change.
And I think the second modern, now this is truly like a challenge of this time, is to have the balance of just, being hardworking and being able to take like shit from life, getting stuff done no matter what. And then, the modern world really is like all about dividing your attention and multitasking and sort of like, I don't mean it in a bad way, but being all over the place or being everywhere with your mind. You have the smartphones, the computers, all these fast apps, fast life. I think there's
Diversify.
diversify. So there's a nice balance to be had there, because I think 20 years from now, just having like this stable guy in the office, it's going to be so fucking valuable. Like unlimited wage for the stable guy. So that's a huge benefit. But at the same time, the world is becoming faster, and there are more inputs and outputs and everything you can do. It is diversifying. So, being a more diverse being is really good. So I don't believe that, parents should try to make their children focused in the same way that they were when they were young. A different focus was needed. And now that finding this right balance of what, these are like young kids, they are the newest release, so to say.
Yeah.
So probably they are the perfect adaptation.
Yeah,
But
they
then,
probably should have their iPhones or iPads by the age of 7, at least for some time, because yes, they are losing their attention spans and then getting lost in these things. But how else will you be able to, put up with it, with the tempo of the world, if you do not gain any input from the modern world?
Yeah, so it is your child, but it is also a way newer version than you. And yeah, we should sort of like, I don't know, project like the idea of like focus and work and dedication, but then let them be like sort of all over the place, but in a good way. Because we can talk all we want, but this kid is like an entire biological system made for the modern world. Like it's way smarter. Yeah.
Thank you for these answers. I find them original in the sense that it's easy to fall into philosophizing about the world, like the energy crisis or the politics or I don't know, big pharma and tech corruption or whatever, but to really like bring it into your own individual actual life. I think it's a good quality about you, Henry. You are very grounded in that sense.
I just don't read the news, so it would be really hard to comment. My consciousness brings enough news to me.
Yeah, and that's also no advice maybe for modern living. Don't read too much news. Yeah, all right. I think I'm actually really happy with these answers. So we'll stop here. Thank you, Henry.
Nice. Goodbye.
One of the great aspects of the paradigm we're coming from, and that it's melting now, is the idea of what is right and what is wrong, right? Like this manichaeistic idea of light and shadow, black and white, right or wrong. And actually process-oriented existence is not about what's right or wrong. It's about experiencing, feeling, understanding, realizing, modifying, experimenting, discovering. Yes. In Andean shamanism, for example, one of the main aspects is truth doesn't exist. There are no absolute truths. There are just different viewpoints. And for me, this idea of viewpoint is something very central to my practice. From this viewpoint, what I'm seeing looks bad or it's not right. But if I put myself in this another viewpoint, I can understand it a little bit better. It has helped me, for example, to manage my relationships a little bit better. That we have certain expectations, then the other person shows up and they are coming from a different side, and you're like, no, that's wrong because I want this, no, but I want that. And I think we are trained in in getting stuck in unique views of the world, in unique ways of looking at ourselves. It's like we define ourselves. We say, I am Nicolas and I am like this and I am not like that. And these are the things I do and these are the things I don't do. And the people that do these kind of things are not good for me. And the people that think more similar to me are good for me, But being able to deconstruct this idea, like understanding myself more as an evolving mystery, and not necessarily being fixed or crystallized into one viewpoint of my existence, also helps me to relate with the others. It doesn't look so terrible in my relationship when I get out from my viewpoint, I stand in another position and I look at it from there and I say, actually, you know what? I can empathize with where you're coming from. It's not where I was coming from, but I understand that you can come from there, you know? So these ideas of right or wrong, it's something that it's also programmed in my mind, and I come across it, you know, in different moments. And I try to be very aware when I'm acting from that program and how I can shake. And again, for example, playfulness is something that helps me a lot to shake when I become rigid, because I have a rigid part and because I was trained in all these rigid concepts of the world that we come from. So coming back to the idea of music or the sculptor, inside of that rock, I think there are infinite possible sculptors, or inside of the piano keyboard, there are infinite possible melodies. What is your connection with this here and now, and what is going to be your discovery if you remain open, you know? And I'm pretty sure that there are so many versions of beauty and power that can appear from that rock or that piano, when we go beyond the idea of right or wrong, no? And then to close the idea, Miles, who is an amazing musician, said, in music there are no mistakes, you know, and it's even about your presence in the moment. Look, I'm playing the wrong notes, but this moment is perfect because I'm enjoying it, and I am transmitting this enjoyment to you, and that's art. There are no rules in art. There is no good art or bad art, right art or wrong art, right? There is expression, and this expression can cover infinite possibilities of the colors of the human experience, and it connects us with the transcendent aspect of existence as well, through light and shadow, right?
What do you feel is the challenge we are facing as humans today and maybe in the near future?
What I'd like to believe, which is my challenge or has been my challenge in a way, and I think it will still continue to be one, is how to listen to myself, how to hear my intuition, how to be connected with myself no matter what's happening outside. Because I have this really, really strong belief that I have all the answers that I need. I have all the information that I need, but I just really need to connect with it all. Not on a mind level only. Mind is helpful, but it's a little bit limited. Yeah, but it's very helpful too. I have a lot of respect for the mind also now, but also how to include the intuition, because I think that there is so much wisdom in here. What we sense, what we feel before anything is happening or afterwards, or how to connect with other people. It's such it's a treasure. And if we all step into our intuition, into listening to ourselves, into following ourselves, which is also can be a complicated path. But when we do that, I think it will change the society in a huge way. And also psychologically, because I'm talking about listening. Listening skills are very limited in our society in general. And when we learn, to start listening, that on psychological level, it means that we are learning how to connect with ourselves and with each other. And that's what we are missing in the society. So it's in a way, it's very simple, but somehow very complicated. Yeah.
Oh, I can make it very complicated.
What do you feel are the challenges that we are facing come tomorrow, as humans?
Well,
as humans.
Yeah, but I have to warn you, like, my opinions, they're very much, changed by the society and social media.
Fair enough.
Even when I say some things like, I'm not sure if they really are my thoughts, because I'm just so immersed in all of the things that other people say.
And I. And me.
Okay, but I'll do my best. So, what are the challenges that we are facing? Something like that. Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is probably like technology. Yeah, that's a very scary topic to me. Like, it just, I don't know, the way I see how people are so like dependent on today's technology, how much trust they have in it, and how kind of naive it seems. You know, like people just don't really use their brain anymore to make some difficult and important choices. They pretty much leave all their trust in apps, and it's hard to explain.
Or I can draw a parallel with like, authority. Even before me, I guess our parents and their parents, I guess for them, it was the authority, the one with the papers.
Yeah.
that had the answers, right? So now it's the technology, you feel.
Yeah. Well, I can give you an example, a very easy example. TikTok. I don't think many people understand how big TikTok really is and how much influence it has, especially on like younger kids. Like all those new apps and phones and all the new technology that is coming out, it's like in these last few years, everything's kind of really sped up compared to like when our parents were younger.
Yeah, 1,000-fold.
Like nowadays, every new year you get something new that's like
revolution.
Yeah, exactly. It scares me because like I think it has so many dangerous aspects of it that people don't really grasp. They don't understand how it's like affecting our mentalities or bodies, and they just keep wanting more and keep wanting to make things better, and people are greedy. And me as a simple human being, just one person living here in Tallinn, for me, like as an individual, that's scary. But if I look at the bigger picture, then yeah, like it makes sense. People need to evolve. The world needs to evolve. So it's actually like a natural thing that's happening. Just maybe not the way that me personally would love to see it.
Yeah. What are some places where you perhaps feel some discontent or pain even?
Just maybe the way that people are so disconnected from others, from the real life. Like, and studies have been made where like, people are getting more depressed and social, what's the word? Like people are more social awkward than ever
Socially
before.
awkward.
Socially awkward, yeah. It's hard for people to communicate, to find partners in life, to really connect. And mostly it all comes from like all of the social media and stuff. Like that's a very simple way to put it. Just don't know how to explain it that well.
Oh, the main challenge is the lack of truth. Real truth now doesn't mean much to people because of social media. I mean, everything has its benefits and disadvantages, but and now one can chat. GPT is the latest chatbot. And, you can ask it to spew out anything. Virtual reality has its place, of course, but in the wrong hands and with the wrong people, it really is a step in the direction of complete delusion. Where am I? What sort of reality am I in? What is the truth? So I think we're facing a crisis of truth. That is the main challenge. And technology is behind it, or rather the misuse and overuse of technology.
Mm-hmm.
So the challenge, in my view, is not so much materialism or lack of it, but it's the blurring of people's ability to be quiet and to go deeply into a matter, because they're kicked around by all sorts of extraneous forces, all competing for attention. You got this on the internet, and you got this on YouTube. You got information, misinformation, fake news.
Mm-hmm. Overstimulation.
Yeah, it's a crisis of truth, in my understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Realizing that wisdom has nothing to do with piling fact upon fact like bricks, one brick on top of another. It's really paring away the intellectual concepts to arrive at the core. So the wisest people are not the most informed people, and the most informed people are anything but wise.
And what are your, well, I guess you have been living a solution, but what would your solution be for that problem?
Well, one thing is I don't have a television.
Same.
I never have. And if I could boast about only one thing in my life, it's that I've never had one. I've never felt the need for one, and I don't want one. Well, I like to think I'm pretty well informed, but I read. And when you read, it's a very different thing from having news just dumped into you, so-called news. So my solution is only my solution. It can't be for anyone else. But as a general principle, I would say, reduce the amount of trash in your life. No one would argue that if you eat junk food, you're not going to be healthy. I mean, no one's going to argue about that. It is so important to realize that there is the mental equivalent of junk food. Don't fill your mind with junk now. Don't expect to grow healthy in your mind. Don't expect to receive deep thoughts about the ancient wisdom any more than if you eat junk food, you would expect to have a healthy body. So choose what goes in through there and what goes in through there. So you ask, my solution is literally to be very careful about what I mentally eat and emotionally eat.
What do you see is the challenge or challenges we are facing today as humans? Either individual or collective.
First, I thought it would be very different for me as an individual and as a collective, as a mankind. But then I realized it might not be so different at all. And I think it's related with the awareness. That the quality of awareness, in a widest sense. I am myself in this path of I don't know, healing is a bit loaded word, but anyway, just healing or just zooming out and seeing my patterns and non-functional things in bigger picture to make a change there. to, I don't know, reduce the suffering and be more happy, more fulfilling in my life. And actually, I think it's the most important matter for mankind as well, because like it's the quote that they say is from Einstein, but I don't really know from whom it is. But it's this acknowledging that the problems cannot be solved at the level they were created. And I think we are kind of in bankruptcy of the ideas how to organize ourselves as a mankind. So everything that we have has shown its strengths, but also its weaknesses, and usually, I don't know if it's only related to that, but I've been working a lot with organizations, and I've learned that when the amount of people grow in one collective, then there are certain levels where new kinds of problems arise. And we are growing as a mankind, and we are more connected than ever because of social media and all that, internet. And it have introduced the problems that we haven't seen before, when everything was way less connected. And everything that we have right now as a collective, how to organize it, doesn't work anymore. So there is the next level of the ideas how to make this work together needed. And I think the only way how to get there is to bring more awareness into it, and more collective awareness, like more people who are able to see bigger picture, are able to step in and bring something new. And I think it's the key for solving the problems that we have. Because right now what happens, what I see happening is just to try to solve just the fractions of the problems, but the bigger underlying challenge remains. So it needs some consciousness shift. So that's why I say the same. I need to live a happier life. It's the same for mankind to rise to the next level, to just raise the consciousness.
I want to share one vision too. It relates a little bit to the from me to we movement, and it's about creativity. So and I won't say it's my vision. I've heard it in different forms and experienced it in different forms. So one thing I think, if we look at this capitalism and maybe the last few thousand years of development, we have become individualized more now than ever. And well, I'm not even going to go into why. There's technical reasons. There's maybe some like psychological developmental reasons, but one kind of result of that is that in our creativity, there's always this visionary or artist or scientist who has a breakthrough, whether it's in art or science or business or wherever. And then he comes and gives this vision to others, and then we pursue it one way or another. And this has been the way for past maybe 500 years and even before that with conquerors. I want to unite Europe. I want to unite Asia. I want to unite the whole world, but now I think, or what I would like to see and what I hope to see too, is that instead of one person having a vision, perhaps when our channels, our perception is cleaned and cleared, and like you said, when the noise reduces, perhaps we will be able to start to receive visions and inspiration, not on an individual level, but on a collective level. And it doesn't have to be, a local collective. Maybe it's a collective of people around the world, because nowadays, well, look what we are doing, me and you are in Ecuador, right? I'm in Estonia. We're having this, inspiring conversation. And not only me and you, we're also having this inspiring conversation with people who will be listening to this in the future all around the world. It's pretty weird concept. Try to explain that to a tribesman, a few hundred years ago.
Yes.
It's magic. So perhaps this creativity itself will start to decentralize, and people around the world will have maybe visions at the same time, and will be connected in one way or another around this vision. And maybe we'll start to create and make projects, and maybe even create, little societies or little villages or companies around these collective visions, collective dreams.
Yes, I think it's happening, Remo. I think it's happening. First of all, because if you observe nature, it works that way. This is called like the new paradigm navigators, and it brings me to this amazing and anarchistic scientist that created the concept of the morphogenetic fields. What's his name? I forgot his name now. But this idea that every species has a field which is a non-local field, and every Rupert Sheldrake, it's his name.
Yes.
So when someone learns something in a certain place and time, this understanding, this unlocking of this new ability or comprehension goes into the field. Maybe another way to see it is somebody access a field where this understanding is already there, and by accessing opens the access to the rest of the species, right? And I think this is happening more and more, and it happens, for example, maybe internet, it's a step in the development of that, meaning it is also a material, technological thing, but maybe in the evolution of our species, it's part of that evolutive movement. Yes. And what you were saying also brings me to another inspiring being for me, which is Alejandro Jodorowsky. I don't know if you heard about him. So he's a guy that comes from art, and he worked a lot with esotericism and with shamanism, and he created something which is called psychomagic, and he created something which is called psycho-shamanism, etc. He works a lot with the tarot. He's very old now, but still alive. And what he says is that the old paradigm is about the Messiah, which is what you were describing. It's like one messenger that comes with a truth to, enlighten the rest. And we look at him from below, right? But in the new paradigm, the Messiah is collective. So in this new paradigm, there is no more like the chosen one, but it's like we are the chosen ones, all of us. And like we need to enter into this into this new field one by one. So it's like, if you don't do the work, if you don't decide to train, to shift, to clean those things that are stuck, to acknowledge your trauma, to go into your shadow, if you don't do this, it will take more time. But one by one needs to unlock inside of them to enter into the collective Messiah. Yes, and the collective Messiah would be the what brings the novelty, right? Which would be the new paradigm. But the reaching this new paradigm is something that needs to be co-created in a one by one basis. Yes. So the outcome is collective, but the process is collective and personal. And it also brings me to the idea of non-local consciousness, right? The idea is that personally, I am a creative person and I have created concepts and I create frames and different things, but not necessarily I created them. Maybe working with myself, exposing me to certain experiences, letting go certain indoctrinations I had, and of course still being in the process of doing that, maybe in certain moments has led me to, let's say, my antenna to tap into certain frequencies from where I could grab certain ideas. They are not necessarily mine. They come to form through me. And I'm now in Ecuador. I was born in Argentina. I was a clown in South America, and you're in Estonia, and someone else is in Siberia. Like, we will give a style which is different according to our cultural background, but the essence of these concepts are in the field. And maybe when we subtleize ourselves to certain extents, our antenna can grab these more subtle frequencies of very pure information. Yes. So, and I think the best thing we can do is to socialize that, right? To put it out there so that it also influences others. It resonates, and then someone else grabbing those ideas transports them into something different, and we are co-creating. Yes. So I think this point you mentioned is essential, and it's definitely a part of the new paradigm we are starting to experience.
So my question is this: what do you think and feel are the challenges, or is the challenge that we are facing as humans today, 2023 or the coming years?
We live in a very, very interesting times. I think as cheesy as it might sound, that we are in the age of a paradigm shift, and it's very, very new, deep, interesting, intriguing meaning. It's something that we don't know how to navigate. We don't have necessarily the tools. I think that's the challenge. We have to invent and create new tools, new understandings.
New maps.
Basically new compass, how to navigate what we are seeing around us or experiencing or facing or what is yet to come. And I think it's very, for me, and what I see in my own work and just interactions with people, that the key to get that, or to just be able to be in the game, not just on a side bench and just looking how the game is being played, but actually to be in the game, to feel alive, is how deep you can go inside, how deep, where's your depth, how connected you can be to who you truly are, and how to bring that into the world. I think the challenge being that we don't have the traditional connections anymore. We don't have the traditional. We kind of have this wisdom, but it's learned. It's not inherited anymore. There was a disconnect happening, and now we just like headless chickens a little bit. The humanity seems like a headless chickens, like running around. Everybody is like trying to do some things, and let's just like take it a step back. Let's breathe. Let's create space, and let's see what this new is. I think the biggest challenge is to be okay to not know. I think that's the biggest challenge, and it's not optional. Like we don't know, and that has to be okay place to start. And it's the only way to do it is to find out who you are, to know who you are, to be so deep in your own self that you trust 100% who you are, and then bring it out into the world. And then we can just like, it's a level we don't know. We know the mental intellectual level. We know how to operate from logic. Past 2 centuries have been all about that. But we absolutely need and are required to create something different. Because obviously that's not working. That's just inertia still like moving us around in this very, very materialistic way of understanding who we are and how we are meant to operate here. So I think that, the biggest challenge absolutely is to know who we are, to have 100% absolute trust in that, and then be okay that we don't know. And then that we just trust that whatever it is, what we yet don't know, we are absolutely okay. When it comes, when it happens, whatever it is, we can navigate it. Does it make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a level of existence and a level of trust, a level of faith, but not faith in something outside of myself, but some integrity inside myself, some quality of being. And yeah, it kind of, it reminds me of Nietzsche, that now that the God is dead, we need to create our own values, or in a sense become a superhuman that's guided by some their own created. But I would say, and like you say, it's not so much created values, it's found values. It's something in me, some depth, and yeah, it might be the same God that was killed but now is really discovered within me, not somewhere outside of myself on the clouds.
Yeah, I agree. And I absolutely, it's a great time to be alive. It's there are many different level challenges as well, and we've talked about this between us, but I think it all comes to that the main thing being that we have to stop looking outside, that somebody else will be something that will solve the challenges or problems or issues we're having. And that every single one of us starts to live based on who we were. It's again, the words are too cheesy to express it purely, but to be who we are meant to be and live according to what is our original way of being or natural way of being, and to find out what that is and then bring that into the world when every single human being is doing just that, and then saying it with like just and just that, because it's so easy, isn't it? We would very quickly live in a very different and very, very different and very interesting world. It will just, this is the challenge, and this is the shift, and this is a possibility that is so here right now. But we have to find that inner trust and clear out everything that is not who we are, to be able to tap into that new way, to be able to translate what we actually know here in the 3D reality, if you will.
Thank you. So that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed. But before I finish, I want to extend an invitation to you. So this July 22nd and 23rd, we are hosting, with a lot of the people you have seen on the show, a symposium that's a conference, a festival that's totally free and online. You can participate from anywhere, and we'll be discussing exactly the same themes and questions we have been wrestling with here in this podcast. And we are excited to bring you many different presentations, workshops, even e-posters. And personally, even more, I'm excited about seeing you there and hearing your opinions and ideas. What could the new paradigm look like, and what's needed to bring it about, and what are the questions that we really are, and challenges that we really are wrestling with today. So I will put the link down below, and yeah, see you there.